What up, everybody? We back at it today. Actually out in the garage, just kind of tinkering around, getting everything ready for winter. Putting the carbon hardtop back on the S2000. I took it off at one point just because the hardtop's kind of a pain. Not really a pain to take on and off, but it's just really inconvenient to take on and off. And sometimes I want to ride to work with the top up, and then after work I want to ride with the top down. So I took the hardtop off and I was just riding with the convertible top for a little while. But I'm just now throwing the brackets and stuff back on it so I can put the hardtop back on it. Obviously for winter, because it's taking up space in my basement and I want it out of there. So throwing these brackets back on. And they're kind of a pain because the bolts are down inside there. But that's not what this video is about. This video is about the Ranger. The Ranger is kind of I don't know if I'd say the poster child. I guess it's kind of the poster child for the MRE Motorsports channel. This is probably the vehicle I've owned the shortest. Well, no, I guess this was I've owned this one very little amount of time. But this one I've owned for like 2 years. Everything else, the Boost Knuckle, I've had it for like 5 or 6 years. And then the Civic, that thing's forever. That one's like a limb at this point. But yeah, the Ranger. This thing seems to get the most attention on the channel. And here recently, in probably the last, honestly, probably this last year, I haven't really done much with the Ranger. And I know there's some Ranger, LS Swap Ranger groups on Facebook and stuff like that. So I thought I'd do a little walk around of the Ranger, kind of tell you about how it started its life, why I picked a Ranger, and give you a little breakdown of the build and kind of what's in it. As far as cost goes, it's usually what everybody says, like, what did it cost to build it? Honestly, I don't really know. Do I know roughly what I have in it? Yes, sort of. But you have to take into consideration that doesn't include time, all the fab work time and stuff like that. Most people can't do their own fab work. So let's say they put the motor in the truck and they get it that far, but then they need to take it somewhere and get the fab work done. Well, that's, whatever they might have in it at that point, you pretty much might as well double the build, because the fab work is going to be probably double what they already have in it, basically. So I can't really tell you what it cost me to build this truck, because the dollar amount's going to be different to each person trying to do something like this based on their skill level. So the number's kind of irrelevant. Can you do it pretty cheap? Sure. But you sacrifice somewhere. When you try and do it as cheap as possible, you'll sacrifice somewhere, whether it be the quality of the work or the quality of the products that you put on the car. It's just, a lot of people don't think about that type of scenario, but that's just really what it is. If you try and cut costs somewhere, you're sacrificing something from the vehicle. But my battery's going to die. I'm going to swap batteries real quick, and then we'll get into this breakdown. All right, so let's try this out. I got this little GoPro mount on my forehead. It's a 97 Ranger. The 97 Rangers have really crappy front end suspension. I put a 8.8 Explorer rear end underneath of it. Nothing special. It was like $250 online. It was in actually pretty shitty shape, but I cleaned it up, and I think I actually did a video on it of me cleaning that thing up. As far as the engine goes, this is a 3rd gen aluminum block, which I guess everyone considers it an L33 block. I bought it bare. It didn't have any rotating assembly or nothing in it, but I bought a brand new GM crank, brand new rods. Everything's OEM, standard pistons, OEM standard pistons in it. Gapped it for boost. This used to have the LSA blower on it when it was in the Boost Knuckle. and it was sitting on a shelf or on a stand in the garage. And when I put the 6.2 in the boost knuckle, this 5.3 just sat on the stand and didn't get used for, I think, probably a year or so, maybe longer. And I just decided one day, I was like, you know what, I'm gonna buy something to put this in. I scoured the internet, looked all over the place, and came across this Ranger out in Topeka, Kansas. But it was a 4-cylinder 5-speed truck. Drove it all the way back from Topeka, got it here back in the garage, and it's set. And I started yanking the motor out of it. This motor started life with 317 heads on it for the LSA blower. It was just what I had laying around. It just kind of got pieced together with what pieces I had. When I put it in this truck, I drove it NA for a little while, and when I decided to boost it, I wanted to change the cam in it. The cam was a little big in my eyes for a 5.3, and also a little big for boost. It worked decent for the LSA blower, but for turbo stuff, I wanted to change the cam up a little bit and put something a little smaller in it. So this has an Elgin 1839P in it, which is the 220, 224 duration, 575 lift cam on like a 112 or 113 LSA. Not real big, but honestly a really good size for a 5.3, especially with this turbo. This thing lights really fast. It's got 706 heads on it. They do have the 2-inch intake valves in it. It's got dual springs and retainers in it. ARP head studs. This one is probably one of the nicer engines I've built for myself as far as what parts I used in it. It's been a great engine. When I did the swap, I've got a stock cast like Camaro LS3, I think this is, header or exhaust manifold on this side, and then a Fowler Speed and Performance log import manifold on this side, which is the same thing we've got on the boost knuckle. And I did all the fab work, building the down pipes and crossover pipe I made. Everything seems to work pretty good. This is a Rev 9 billet wheel 7268. The truck started its turbo life with an on-3 70mm on it. The truck did go 1058 at 100 and I think 26 with that on-3 70mm on it. I'll have to go.
Boom, 1058.
On it. I'll have to go back and look at the data log, but I think it made like 13 or 14 pounds that day. I had splashed some E85 in it, and it was actually just an old tune-up that I had in it and I'd been working on for a little while. So the tune-up wasn't, it didn't dyno tune or anything like that. It was just something I threw together and had been driving on for a little bit. But outside of that, I mean, that's pretty much it. It's just an eBay core, intercooler. I used this is like a CJG radiator. It doesn't really work too well because most of it's blocked by the intercooler, so it gets very little flow. I thought about actually cutting some holes right here, maybe like a hole here and a hole here, just to try and get a little bit more airflow through there. And I thought about covering this up. Hey, there's a razor blade. I thought about covering this up a little bit here too to try and keep air from going around the intercooler here. I don't know if it would help, but that's that. Terminator X South Bay 1000cc injectors. I use South Bay on everything I own. The Civic's got South Bay injectors in it. The BK's got South Bay injectors in it. My brother's car's got South Bay injectors in it. The new project that we're getting ready to start on, don't mind me, I'm trying to clean injectors here. The new project car that we're getting ready to start on after we get the Chevelle done, that one's gonna get South Bay fuel injectors put in it as well. Frank and Julie over there at South Bay are probably some of the nicest people. See, southbayfuelinjectors.com. Like I said, Frank and Julie over there are probably some of the nicest people you'll ever meet. Just really good to deal with and very knowledgeable when it comes to fuel injectors and all that stuff. But as far as fuel system goes, they're the ones to go to. Truck has a $200 turbo 350 in it that I bought from a buddy of mine. Don't really know any of the details on it. It's worked really well, obviously. The converter that's in this truck is a like 28 to 3200 stall Renegade converter, which is something we get from or something I got from one of our local vendors here in town. I think it was like 170 bucks is what that thing costs. So pretty inexpensive, and they're only rated for like 550 horse. So it's probably right at the limit with the power this thing currently makes. With this 72 on it, on 10 pounds, I figure it's probably making in the ballpark of like 525 horse. The before with the on 370, it made like 480 something, if I remember right. There's videos of all this stuff on the channel, so just go back, check out the Ranger Pet playlist, and you'll see all the old videos. You'll see videos of me building the truck, videos of dyno, videos of track, everything. Anything you want to see on the Ranger stuff, it's all there. You know, we did a booster delete mainly because I wanted to clean that area up. The big booster was ugly. Obviously there's no HVAC stuff in it, but all the factory HVAC stuff is still under the dash. I'd like to get underneath there at some point and pull all that off. I've been contemplating on changing this setup. I do like this Edelbrock intake a lot. I've had good luck with it on multiple cars. I've tried a couple different intakes on this truck, and this one seemed to be so far the best as far as performance goes. I haven't been able to dyno test all of them, mainly because dynoing is kind of expensive, but I've tried to compare them at track time, you know, at the track with different ETs and stuff. And this one here, you know, pound for pound has been the best intake I've had on the truck, and I've tried like 3 or 4 different ones. I am thinking of pulling this off and going back to like a stock style long runner intake. The short runner stuff works pretty good, and then with the small turbo, the truck's pretty responsive as far as like daily driving goes and street driving. But since the boost knuckles kind of goes back and forth between cathedral port motors and rectangle port motors, I think I'm going to take this off and use this between the 2 combos that I try and put together for that truck. So since this is just our street truck, I'm contemplating on putting the long runner one back on it. But with that being said, I've also thought about going to a different turbo. This turbo is probably pretty well maxed out at like the 600 mark, 600 wheel mark, which we're kind of getting close there. I thought about getting a VS 7875 reverse rotation. Obviously I do the reverse rotation because the alternator is really close to the turbo here, and the 7875 housing is going to be a lot bigger than this, so it won't be able to fit. So I thought about getting one of the reverse rotations, and it will hopefully clock the turbo over a little bit. But with that being said, it's going to affect wastegate placement, downpipe, and all that stuff, so then all that's going to have to be refabbed. So I'm not sure yet if I'm going to do that, but you know, leave a comment down below, let me know what you think. You know, if we should try and lean on this 7268 a little harder, or maybe put a 7875 on it, you know, go back in A with it. Just, you know, any input you guys have, you know, let me know, and maybe we can get something going with it, and y'all can, you know, pick something out for me. But I mean, that's pretty much it. I mean, there ain't a whole lot to that truck. It's been 1050s, you know, with the same motor, same tranny, everything that you see, minus a different intake manifold and a different turbo. Well, yeah, so that's pretty much the rundown on the truck. You know, if there's anything else you guys want to know about it as far as specs or anything like that, just shoot me a message. Check out Instagram or anything like that, or just leave a comment down below and let me know if you know what kind of information you guys want. But anyways, that's gonna do it for this video. Like I said, that was just a little build breakdown on the Ranger. The Ranger gets quite a bit of quite a bit of views, quite a bit of comments, you know, pretty much, honestly, probably like 40 or 50% of the views and the comments and all that stuff we get are usually about the Ranger. So I figured I'd do a little breakdown on that and let everybody know kind of what's in it. It's, you know, a fairly inexpensive truck to build. The Rangers are pretty easy to come by, you know, it's like S10s, they're everywhere. Rangers are as well. But I wanted to do something a little bit different, so I just opted for the Ranger this time. But that's going to do it for this video, guys. Don't forget, comment, like, subscribe. Share it, tell your friends, make sure you hit the bell to get all the notifications when I post a video, and check out the merch store. Links in the description down below. And that's it. We'll see you guys later.